So, guys, I have a real treat for you today. Now, one of my viewers sent me a clip. I guess this has been going around on Reddit, and whoever posted this to a particular group in Reddit was asking, like, what is going on in this clip? Why are these dogs behaving in the way that they're behaving, especially in response to this white dog that shows up on the scene? Like, what's going on here? And this person was asking, can anybody explain what's going on here? Now, unfortunately, the moderator in this group decided it wasn't interesting enough to keep, so they took it down. However, the viewer in question had actually asked the poster if they could have the video, so they had sent the video to this individual, and I'm very, very glad that this individual asked, because this is a great little clip. Actually, there's a couple clips on this Instagram account that I've already followed this individual because it looks like there's some great stuff on here. So let me play the clip and then we'll get into it. That is so cool, isn't it? That is so cool. Guys, I'm telling you, dominance exists in dogs, in nature. It's a principle of nature. Whether you want to accept it or not, it exists. It exists in humans. It exists in all social species. It exists just in the natural world. It is a principle of Mother Nature. Nature cannot operate without force. Okay? Now again, what is the definition of dominance? Power and influence over others. Dogs organize themselves in social hierarchies. A dominance hierarchy. Again, I always use the analogy for like the human world. Say your workplace, that's a dominance hierarchy. You have a boss. Or maybe you are a boss, a manager, but you have a boss. That your boss has a boss, and up the food chain it goes. And the person at the top, the CEO, calls the shots for everybody, makes policy for everybody, and everybody down the food chain enforces those rules, policies, whatever. They provide the consequence should an employee, no matter their status, violate a rule or policy, right? So the one at the top makes the rules for the group, for the corporation, for the social hierarchy, right? Families are no different. Families are also a dominance hierarchy, which, going back to what the force-free people say has been debunked, the alpha theory, which David Mech never actually debunked himself. He simply said that in a pack of wolves in the wild, what you see is the dominance hierarchy is really two wolf parents who mated, had offspring, and the parents rule the children, essentially, right? It wasn't essentially, there wasn't a battle for the top position. Two wolves mated and had offspring, and that is what you see. But if you've seen my video regarding the study that was done at the University of Vienna, it was veterinary medicine. I can't remember the exact name of the school, or the institution. But it was a study in which they had lab-raised wolves and lab-raised dogs, and what they found was that wolves were actually the more cooperative group, the more cooperative species, but dogs formed strict linear dominance hierarchies. So this video is just a great representation of what that looks like. Is irrefutable proof that these things in fact do exist, especially when you're talking about groups of dogs. There's so much happening in this video that I want to break down. But the first thing I want you to notice, because people were asking, like, okay, what's going on when this white dog shows up? Because what you notice, okay, well, let me take it step by step. All right. The first thing we see in this video that I think actually a lot of people may miss is so the fight actually is starting between the darker, you have two dogs that look similar. The darker haired one is actually arguing with the dog. I don't know if you see on the far right of the screen. That's where the fight starts, where the arguing starts. Now, I'm not sure what the dispute is over, what these dogs are battling over. But what you see happens next is you see the dog that's off to the side, the one that looks similar to it, is, what you see here is all these dogs are barking, right? There's an argument taking place. There's a battle taking place. And all these dogs are barking. Some may be expressing their discontent with what's happening, but they don't want to get involved. Right? That's what I want you to notice is these dogs aren't actually getting involved. They're vocalizing, but they're not getting involved. But the dog that got the closest, what you see is this dog diverts his attention away from the dog he was originally arguing with and begins to discipline this dog right here. Now you can see who clearly is the more dominant of the two. In fact, the more dominant of the three, the one he's originally arguing with and the one he went to discipline. The darker haired dog I would conclude is more dominant than the two of them. So you see, so he's kind of putting them all in their place, and you see how none of those dogs, now it's safe to conclude that as well because all of those dogs give him his ground, right? What you have to understand about the way these things play out is the more dominant dog is the one moving forward, and the ones that are reacting to him and giving space up are the weaker ones. Again, this is all about strength of personality. That's how social hierarchies are established. Dominance hierarchies are established by, the rank is established in terms of who has the stronger personality in the group. So you have the weakest personalities at the bottom, and up the chain it goes till you have the strongest personality ruling the group, making the rules for the group, right? So this dog fits somewhere probably higher up in that ranking, the pecking order, right? So you see the forward movement of this dog. This darker dog keeps putting pressure on the lighter colored dog, and the lighter colored dog is giving into the pressure, right? It's not moving into it, it's giving up ground. Okay, so the darker haired dog is exerting more dominance than all these other dogs in this group. But then, what happens? Where you have all this noise, these dogs making this noise. So of course, the leader of the group is going to hear this noise, right? So now watch what happens. This dog shows up. And this is, I think, the thing that was confusing people, because they're like, wait a minute, these big dogs are here. Why are these dogs bowing? Do you see the way this dog bows as soon as this littler white-haired dog shows up? Why is this? Now, if you've seen, I had a video in which I showcased Brandon Fouché, and I titled it, What Real Dominance Looks Like. And people in that video, the most common comment that I got was people were saying these dogs are afraid of Brandon. They don't, this is fear. They don't love Brandon. And I pushed back on these people and said, stop, you're looking at this through the lens of human eyes. You're not looking at this through the lens of an animal, more specifically a dog. Right? Dogs show respect in a different way. So, the way this dog is bowing to when this white dog shows up is very similar to how the dogs in that video were bowing and slinking away when Brandon showed up. The strength of his personality, his presence alone, right? Those dogs understand what Brandon represents. So when he shows up, none of those dogs want to challenge Brandon. They're not going to challenge him because they understand the position he holds. He is the most dominant figure in the group. He has power and influence over all members of the group. So this white dog shows up, and this dog clearly has the most power and influence over all of this group. Which is why, as soon as he shows up, the dogs give him his ground, they give him space, and they do not challenge him. You notice they look away from him. They don't give him eye contact, right? And they show supplicative body language, right? What you might assume or interpret as fear, what they're actually doing is showing respect, right? So dogs show respect through supplicative body language, right? What you might interpret as they don't like him or they fear him is, no, he is the strongest member of the group, and therefore he gets the utmost respect. He gets the red carpet treatment, if you will. But what I want you to notice is all these other dogs are barking and making noise. Who's the only dog not making noise? Who's the only dog not barking? Even when he shows up to discipline the other dog, he's not barking, is he? He's not making any noise. He's the quietest in the group. But I want you to notice when he shows up, look, he comes through. Look at his body language. Look at the posturing on this dog. Do you see how that tail is so straight up? And he has this very proud gait. His head is up, right? Very confident in the way he moves. It's very assertive also. So this dog shows up, and immediately the other dogs just give him ground. And you see, even the dog with the darker color, who is disciplining these other dogs. Again, we don't know what it was over. What does this dog do immediately as soon as the quote alpha in the group addresses him? He shows supplicative body language as well. What does he do? Again, people would interpret this as the dog fears him. No, this is the dog showing supplication. The dog saying, all right, the dog is saying, I don't want to challenge you. So what does he do? He lowers his body language. He gets on his back. And you see this white dog takes a very dominant position over this. He's dominating this dog. Now, don't get it twisted. This dog has already dominated all of these other dogs in this group. How do you think he got to the position he's in? But there's also one thing I want to point out, because this is something that I learned having a dog like Bruno, was if you address the individual who starts the fight stops. So my assumption is, even though we didn't see how this started, my assumption is that this dog right here that he's disciplining, for one reason or another, started this altercation. And maybe he had good reason to do it. I don't know. But this dog shows up, and he doesn't address any other dog except this one. And so I often did that with Bruno, where if he started an altercation, I went after him and addressed him, and the fight would stop. I didn't address any other dogs, even if the dog was defending and, maybe engaging out of, say, just defending itself. I still would address Bruno and Bruno only, and it's a de-escalation, right? The intensity, all that tension that's building up just diffuses. And you notice, as soon as he addresses this dog, what happens? The group quiets down. The barking stops. All that heightened intensity just dies down, right? And you see what he does. He immediately gets on top of this dog. Now, the dog yelps. Listen, usually dogs don't do that out of pain. Now, the way he steps on this dog, maybe he kind of stepped on something that hurt the dog, possibly. But sometimes dogs will just do that. It's kind of like a, okay, I get it kind of thing. It depends on the yelp, right? This one, it's possible because of the way he vocalized that, and maybe he did step on something and it hurt, maybe. But do you see the way this white dog is dominating this dog? He's not barking at him. He's not biting him. The strength of his personality is all he needs to get his point across. Now, watch my video, mental dominance versus physical dominance, right? Mental dominance is the end result of physical dominance. But depending on the dog in question, say this dog right here, the weaker dogs in the hierarchy, all he would have to do is assert himself, say by staring a dog down, moving in towards a dog, asserting himself that way, and those dogs will submit immediately. That's mental dominance, right? He doesn't ever have to get physical with the dog, with the exception of maybe applying some spatial pressure and making very assertive eye contact, right? But it's everything. It's the posturing, it's the energy he puts forth. But there are other dogs where he has to get more physical with them, right? And that leads to the mental dominance. But you see, he has already done that. But in this case, he's just disciplining this dog, and he's trying to break up the fight, which is exactly what he does. Now you see the dog on the bottom is kind of barking at him. He doesn't like it. He's expressing the fact that he has discontent. But what does he do ultimately? He submits. He gives into it. He's not going to fight back, right? But do you see what the dog on top does when he does that? See, guys, these are principles that I've discussed on my channel that you need to implement with your own dogs. You see, the dog on the bottom, he expresses his discontent, and what does this dog do? He moves in closer. He asserts himself a little bit more. He's letting that dog know that, hey, I don't tolerate even that. You talking back to me like that? Unacceptable. So that's why this dog is moving in even more. Okay? Because the point has not been made yet. This dog is not fully submitted to what he's saying. Now, unfortunately, that's the end of the clip. But there's another one on this channel. Let's go to. I want you to see this. That's such a great video. Okay, what happens here? Okay, for one reason or another, he's dominating this dog, right? But it's the same situation. This dog is on his back. It doesn't wish to challenge this dog, but it is talking back a little bit, right? See, the dog is barking, showing teeth, squirming around a little bit. But what does the top dog do? Now, I want you to notice something, because there's something I forgot to mention in the first clip too. I want you to notice how unemotional this whole endeavor is. This is not an emotional endeavor. In fact, like I said, all those other dogs were vocalizing, but this dog shows up, is the calmest of the bunch. And when he asserts himself, it's not an emotional thing. It's very assertive, it's forceful, it's very domineering, but it's also very calm and balanced. It's not an emotion. There's not emotion added to this. And once the point is made, it's like, all right, we're cool. And that's what he does to this dog. I want you to see this dog pushes back, right? Right. See, this dog pushes back. And so the more dominant dog only asserts himself to the level that's necessary to get this dog to stop pushing back. So he's meeting the level of force needed and giving a little bit more. But I want you to notice, every time the dog on the bottom vocalizes, he shows his teeth a little bit and then he stops. He asserts himself a little bit, then he stops. Right? You see that? But I also want you to notice the posturing. He's very stable in what he's doing, what he's communicating. Very strong. It says same posture, tails up, very confident body language, head up. Very powerful use of his body. But I want you, do you see, as soon as that bottom dog finally submits, what does the top dog do? Top dog stops. He's like, all right, we're good. Now, the human in the group pulls the dog off, which that's fine, but it was done. But I want you to see, look what happens. This top dog stays on the bottom dog. See, look, he stays on him. He stays on him. See, that's something that I teach you. This is the follow through. He's following through. He's making sure that the point was made. Right? Forward moving. The other dog is retreating. Right? This is the nature of being the assertive one. Right? You're moving forward, expressing in an assertive way, a dominant way, exerting power and influence over, right? But he stays on the dog. And what happens after? Actually, all these dogs, what do these dogs do? They show supplication. See, now the dog he was just dominating is licking his face, showing more submissive body language. Yeah, you see he starts licking his face here. And that's how the leader of the group understands, like, okay, you got the point. I can stop now. But you see how once the point's made, it's like there isn't bad blood. There's no emotions in this, guys. This Mother Nature is a cold, cruel bitch. Okay? This is how you have to be. Especially when you have a stronger dog, when you have a more dominant dog. You have to be this way. There's no way around it. Okay? This is how nature works, and this is how the nature of dogs work. You either accept it or you don't. And this is why, unfortunately, you have people in the force-free groups, the Victoria Stilwells of the world, the Karen Overalls of the world, the Zach Georges of the world. They deny the existence of this. But it's to the detriment of dogs and people. Because how many kids are attacked unnecessarily every year? How many dogs are euthanized or put on drugs for the rest of their lives every year as a result of those attacks? Because they're deemed to have mental issues, or they're lost causes because the positive-only people can't help them. They have no solutions for these dogs because they refuse to accept the reality of what it is we're dealing with here. These clips are so useful because you can learn so much from studying how dogs do this to each other. What are the social dynamics at play with these groups of dogs? You can learn a lot about how to work with dogs by studying these clips. Study them thoroughly. A lot can be gained. And then you go back and watch my Lessons in Leadership series. A lot of the principles, I haven't discussed all the principles, but you watch those videos, a lot of the principles I've discussed are exemplified in this dog. Where do you think I learned this stuff from? Makes you think.
You gonna play that now?
Damien, a large and powerful Rottweiler, has claimed the alpha position. Rocky, a veteran of the streets, has claimed second position, with his sights set on first. Rocky continues to eye Damien's position. The battle for top rank is now between two of the most imposing breeds, the Rottweiler and the Pit Bull. Rocky will have to wait.